Hello and welcome back, everyone. This is I Seen You Before, and the next episode of What Do We Know So Far about Dominance 5, I'll talk about magic and items right now. I believe we were looking at magic first, doesn't really matter the order, I think we can do it in one episode. So, brand weapons have been slightly nerfed. I think we kinda all saw this coming, because everyone here who's used to thugging will end up just making bows. Let's just take a look at don't need to take a look at our Shinuyama Let's Play. Anyone who saw it and anyone who even plays Shinuyama knows what's up. So, long story short, let's have a quick look right now at the brand items themselves. What we're talking about are the Frost brand, Mercy brand, probably not. The Frost brand, Fire brand, and Shadow brand. So basically, those are the bread and butter of every single super commander or thug unit that you create. The other items are considered niche usually, the Frost brand being the most efficient one at only 5 water to forge, but even the Fire brand and the Shadow brand are not too bad because, for example, in the Fire brand, Fire is very strong against a lot of units, and those which are Frost resistant, you can just make Fire brands. Lastly, when it comes to Shadow brands, the thing Leeching Darkness deals an air of effect damage that affects the enemy, but in similar fashion than those. But the additional effect is Weaken, which makes them less strengthened, so your SC ends up taking less damage back. And they all have pretty respectable stats, each at length 2 plus 4 attack each plus 1 or 2 defense each. So that's why those weapons are actually pretty good. So I'm not too surprised about the nerf. Okay, let's head back and take a look at what else we were looking about. Let me just reopen OBS. The new water item to self bless. That's gonna fill in a specific niche. It's gonna be used for sacreds that actually are sacred, that are a commander but don't have hurry. I don't know if that will let the unit become a sacred item like the Sacred Shroud, but we don't know that for now. Dust daggers cause bleeding. I guess that will be useful for assassins, but I don't remember making lots of dust daggers or anyone who actually uses that. Slave collars give +1 assassin patience. I guess that's useful if you want an assassin that doesn't rot at all, but I don't usually see people using slave collars and turn the assassin into a mindless unit. Boosters have been shuffled around. Okay, so that means all that we already knew about item boosters. Let me give you an example. Basically, those right there. Let me close those. Voila. Simple items such as okay, there's a bit too many of them right now. Let me look at the nature. I'll give you an example. That means that booster items, the one that I'm just sort by booster. That would be simpler. The items that give you boosters such as Earth Boots, you just need to reach Earth 2 to forge it to put yourself at Earth 3. A few of the other items such as the Ring of Wizardry, Robe of Magi, they have all been shuffled around, which means I don't know how much buff they'll cost now or how much they're gonna be to make. That means what we usually know to boost our powers. For example, let me take water as an example. I'll teach you how to boost from water 2 to water 5. So once you reach water 2, you can recruit someone with water 2 or summon someone with water 2. It's really easy to boost. Water is one of the easiest buffs to boost. So you're at water 2, that's pretty common. You get to construction 6. You get up to water 3 from there. Now from water 3, you can either summon, let me see if I can still remember that. You can go ahead and summon not a sea troll. You can summon the Sea King's Court, right? Now you get yourself a Sea King that's currently at water 3, right? So you give him the water bracelet, that would put him at water 4. Once you make that water bracelet, the next item that you need to make is a robe of, I think it's an underwater robe. Where is it? It's only construction 2. Yeah, robe of the sea. Construction 4 required free water. So you forge that with and give it to the Sea King. He's now at water 5. Water 5 is the maximum you need to reach out to create the basically where is she? The Queen of Elemental Wind, water. So once you reach water 5, you're able to summon the elemental queens, and from there you can pretty much get anything you want in water, because they're already at water 5, so you transfer those items away to them and you get to water 7. That's one example. But just so you know, now this is being shuffled around, so we don't know how to climb the boosters anymore. Let's head back to the sticky notes. Let's see. Ring of Sorcery and Wizardry are now Astral 6 and 7, so they have been unnerfed, I believe. In the last Dominions, they were actually, I believe, at exactly that. Now I wanted to clear every pin. Okay, thank you. So let me see. Item. Ring. No, I want to see those astral items. I don't want to see those. Okay, there we go. So yeah, they have been unnerfed. They have been dropped down from this one has been dropped down to 7, and this one has been dropped down to 6. So they are back to what Dominions 3 used to be. These are usually a very handy item for you to boost all the paths around. So we're not complaining about this one. Robe of the Magi and Tree Lord Staff are a bit easier to get. That's good, because I remember I used to complain about nature. Basically, boosting nature is a bit tricky because okay, well, what's going on now? Okay, but Tree Lord Staff, see, you need to get to 6 to get a boost of +2. Most of the time you get nature mages around, but are at 2 nature, so you end up forging the Crystal Mace, which put him on nature 3, and I believe that's usually why I end up getting stuck, because the next booster is at nature 4, so you might need to empower. Anyways, they're gonna change the Tree Lord Staff. They're also gonna change the Robe of Magi. This one, which is very hard to get since it's air 6 and blood 6. It's already, well, the blood is manageable, but when you think of how much air you need for it, it's hard, because unless you start with air 4, it's very hard to boost yourself above it. Anything before air 4, you cannot forge anything to boost unless you can get access to the, you know, the rings of wizardry and sorcery, but those are means that you need astral. Most of the time you don't really find mages that have both air and blood, so that's even rarer. So they're making it a bit easier to get, so that's gonna be handy. Let's see what else I missed. Cost of items can be different to magic level requirement, not 5 gems for each buff. So I guess we're also changing the how many magical gems it costs you to forge. We're not going to be that uniform anymore. That's going to be interesting to see once we have a bit more data on that. Blood items have been shuffled a lot. Bloodthorn is now blood free. Lifelong and Infernal Contract are more expensive but easier to forge. We can take a look at this right away. I don't know if that's all the blood items that have been moved around. I don't think it's all the blood items that have been moved around. Why can't I find Bloodthorn? Okay, here's Bloodthorn. So apparently this have been dropped down to blood 3 to forge, so that's going to be even easier to boost into blood, because that's usually where you get stuck. Usually empower from blood 2 to 3, but that's gonna, I mean, for empower from blood 3 to 4 to get above it if you don't have nature. But I don't know if that's the only change, or there's been more change around the boosters. That's what we'll have to question. Then lifelong and Infernal Contract are more expensive but easier to forge. So let's take a look at the contract items. Why do you show up there but you don't show up there? That's weird. Okay, here is the Soul Contract right there, and then the Infernal. There's an Infernal Contract. I know there's an Infernal Contract. I don't know why you don't want to show me the Infernal Contract. Lifelong protection. Okay, there we go. Lifelong protection, and I believe that's the correct one, right? Lifelong protection and Soul Contract. Lifelong and Infernal Contract. I think that's what he meant basically. Those will be easier to forge, which means you don't need probably the blood 4 we drop down to blood 3. This will probably drop down to blood 5, I believe. And I think it will be even more expensive to forge, because this item, I think it's a very good item. Like, this item is so good. If you can plan a pretender and get enough blood slaves to get, a couple of those done by year 1, you'll be swarming in demons during year 3 and 4 if you can survive that long. But usually when people start noticing that you're starting to stack as many devils, they tend to attack you because you're really offensive with the demons. They fly around, can attack on round 1. As long as everything is hurt, they can raid because they can fly. Anyways, that's gonna be a welcome change, I believe. Amulet of a Doppelganger now gives seduction. I guess that's gonna leave some crafty tactics ready and up to do. I have never used Amulet of Doppelganger, so I won't know much. A new pair of boots, we've seen that item. Gives all survivals including Winter Move and Unhindered. And immunity to Tangle Vines, Earth Grip, and Webs. So let me see if I can find the item right there. I think I showed you that in the last episode. So here are the Boots of Freedom. They only cost, I believe, 5 air to forge. They give you overtaps of survival. Oh yeah, also because winter is now part of the game now, you'll be slowed down during winter. You'll be unhindered and you have winter move, so it won't even affect your commander during winter. That's going to be an interesting item for logistics. A crown slot that differs from a normal helmet slot. So now there's a new slot that's for a crown. That's going to be very interesting. More accessories, more items, whatever it's going to be. Or maybe we're gonna change some existing helmets into crowns because there are a few crowns into the game. Gloves of a Gladiator buffed, +3 strength, +1 magic resistance, and +1 attack than before. I don't think that's gonna change much for the basic thing about gloves. Gloves of a Gladiator, maybe it's gonna turn nature nations into powerful fighters. But this is actually interesting because before it used to be 3 damage, +1 attack, +1 defense, but then you get 4 attacks. So now they're gonna buff it up to, I don't know if it's +3 which runs up to 4. Let's take it as +3. So it will give us a +4 attack, +1 magic resistance, kind of fills in the slot like half of an amulet of magic resistance, and has 5 attacks. So that might be interesting if there's someone with high strength, you would end up having 5 attacks per square. And with a new quickness, that might be interesting, but the guy, oops, I just hit my microphone. But the person who's equipping that with quickness will pretty much faint very fast. And then the defense of a 200 weapon being unable to equip a shield, I don't know how that works out. Maybe if someone has way too many items and starts making copper arms and stuff like that, but that's a bit, I don't know why they want to buff the item. Maybe someone will come in with an awesome thug build. Thunder Whips now have less base damage, but Chain Shock, free armor negating chaining free. So I think that will be based off new spells of the Chain Lightning spell, as we can see right now. So let's not mind about the top stuff. Chaining 5 bounces to adjacent targets. So that's kind of like a Chain Lightning for anyone who played Warcraft 3, like bzz, 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 bzz. So that's gonna be pretty interesting because that means that this whip, the crappy whip right there, the Thunder Whip right now, is not being used very usefully. It just deals to one person a damage of 10, but it's electrical damage. That's kind of meh. But now it will be able to deal chain bouncing damage. I don't know if it's gonna be like 3 damage to 3 targets, or it's gonna be 3, then 2, then 1. But I think that's gonna open a few thugging outlets for people who have air. So that's gonna be interesting. The other item we're gonna take a look at will be Ring of Returning, Construction 6, and Astral 3. So that's technically the change returning. This is kind of like just a spell. When you receive damage, return to your capital, and it says it's the safe returning. So I believe that one will be the safest way to return without, getting killed on the way back or being in a place where you can't use returning. The Heart of Quickness. It's a Construction 6 item at Blood 3. Gives you 2 Invigoration, Quickness, and Map Move 12. But I believe it also gives you a Heart Wound. That's gonna be an interesting item. Haven't used much of the heart items, but we're gonna see how it goes. thing, but wraps it up for items right there. We can take a look at the new magic stuff. So province enchantments were changed a bit too. Most now disappear when the province is conquered. So they are talking about few niche spells. I don't use them too often because I don't play enough multiplayer, but they are basically talking about the spells such as the dome spells. That'll be one example. You have a few other AS spells where you can increase the income of a province, but I haven't really used them. So setting up a dome on your province kind of reduces the risk that an aggressive an aggressive spell goes through it. So before, I think even when you took over the province, the dome would technically be yours unless it's broken, right? So now what will happen is that as soon as you conquer a province, the dome will dispel itself. Next up, gods and disciples get their own bless while in friendly dominion. So that's gonna be interesting. So instead of just having the plus strength when you're a friendly dominion for gods and the disciples, they'll have their own type of bless. Communions are nerfed, fatigue converted to damage ratio doubled. So before, when your communion slaves used to go to over 100 fatigue, I think past 200 is when you start receiving damage, or was it past 300? You would only receive 1 damage, which was kind of terrible if you took a nature blessing. But I think this has been nerfed. You take more damage now, so you probably take 2 damage, if not 4. And as a little human-sized HP communion slave, that's gonna kill them really fast. So communions have been nerfed. Stellar Cascade is magic resistance halves effect now, so you can spam Stellar Cascades and get everyone to faint anymore. Several summoning spells are relatively slow, more than the average, which is 100% casting time. So you take longer to be spamming summon earth elementals and living fires, because of course they used to be the most overpowered spells right now. Item range boosters now boost both rituals and battle range. Each +1 ritual range is +25 battle range, so that gives a use to the +1 ritual range stuff. They didn't find much use before, because unless you're spamming a lot of enchantments and thaumaturgy spells, to just be dealing economical damage to the enemy, you wouldn't find much use to ritual range. Now ritual range also increases the combat efficiency of the unit, because you can cast spells further now. That's gonna be interesting to see. Demon's Knight are nerfed. So let's take a look at the Demon Knights. I love those units. They're one of my favorite blood summons, if you can get access to them. So where are they? Here they are. It's basically a cavalry undead unit who's really strong, has 22 protection, 30 morale, deals 3 attack just like cavalry, and has an innate build fear. So they have been nerfed. I think they probably got harder to summon. That's the basic feel of everyone, because you never regret summoning a Demon Knight. In exchange, I think they just said that another demon type just got discounted. It's the Serpent Fiends. Let's check for the Serpent Fiend. So where is he? Serpent Fiend. He's not there. Probably something. Where is he? Is he serpent? I can find him. No, it's not Serpent Queen. I think it's probably somewhere in the spells. Let's take a look at that. Might be easier. Ritual Blood. Serpent Fiend. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't find him. So this unit has been buffed. Instead of 5 virgins to summon, it's gonna be only 2 virgins. So you're gonna be able to spam a bit more of the Serpent Fiend. The Serpent Fiend himself, he flies, he doesn't need to eat, he's a demon, his stats are pretty meh, the venomous fangs are pretty meh as well, but they do deal poison. I'm gonna feel in a pretty niche place, but it's gonna be interesting to see, because you can't forget that they're still flying. What else is on the list of a change? Empowering Blood can Horror Mark you. Okay, so you can get Horror Mark for Empowering in Blood. Rain of Stones is very nerfed, capped at 1 damage. Okay, so this is a known thing. The spell Rain of Stones is a very strong spell and has been nerfed. The new fire spell to eliminate diseases but triggers a 20 fire attack. So you receive 20 damage and you can have a chance to cure yourself from the disease. That's gonna be interesting for Fire Nations. Maybe the old age mechanics still kicking very hard. Chain lightning works exactly as you think. Jumps from unit to unit. 3 effects can change up. Okay, I think the damage doesn't drop down, but orb effect uses the same effect now. Casting spells work this way. If a spell needs 1 round, 100% casting. Oh, now we know how casting work. Okay, let's read this slowly. If a spell needs 1 round, 100% casting time, 0.5 rounds is used preparing the spell. The mage could be interrupted here. Then it is casted. Then the following 0.5 rounds is time recovering. Mage does nothing. So I guess that limits the mage to casting 1 spell per turn, and if a spell requires 2 rounds, he's gonna be preparing to cast the spell for almost a whole round, and at the start of the second round is when he will start this cast the spell, but then he will spend another round recovering. I think that's a bit of a nerf towards spellcasters here, but then again we don't know how exactly they're going to work in battle, so that's going to be very interesting. Blood spells are slower than normal. I guess it makes sense since you need to sacrifice someone. Hell power is 200%, that's going to be very slow, and blood rain is 275%. So because of this, we're not going to be able to put up, battlefield enchantment straight up on turn 1. They probably got nerfed. Yeah, they all got nerfed. Light of the Northern Star takes 2 turns to cast. Power of the Spheres more than 1 turn. Will of the Fates more than 1 turn. Anti-magic about a turn. Nature battle enchantments also tend to have long casting times. Howl to 50, relief to 100. That's a big nerf. Spell Conjuration 3, Nature 2, plus 10 Gem Summon, plus 5 Buffaloes for Middle East nations. Okay, we have no clue what the stats of a Buffalo, but it's gonna be interesting. You need something free in Magical Path to gain the related passive resist. So once you get more than 3 in Natures when you get Poison Resist, more than 3 in Fires when you get Fire Resist, and same thing for Cold. Now, according to, I think, the God, you have new versions of Banish and Smite. Let's take a look at them. So a Death God will give you a Smite that you MR check for 10 damage, then if that works, you MR check for Death and then for Exhaustion. So that means that turns the laser of Smite into a Death laser. Nature, low damage 5. If you damage, you get entangled or bleeding. So that's a low damage, a disabler. That's not too bad. Entangled might work against sacreds. Watery Death, 10 armor negating plus drowning. So it deals 10 armor negating damage and doesn't affect underwater undead and animate units. So you pretty much start, I guess, getting exhausted because you can't breathe. Heavenly Fire, 10 armor negating magic resistance negates, not fire. Plus 10 fire armor negating damage if damaged. Okay, so I guess the first time is not fire damage, but if the magic resistance doesn't negate, it gets an additional plus 10 fire damage. That's gonna be like a nuke. Range 50, most are 20-30. That means the air smite is a very long range, like a sniper. Standard 10 damage. If you damage, also adds 5 armor negating lightning. It's gonna be interesting. They each have their variant. Word of Stone, range 20, but secondary effect is petrification. You need to fail another MR check though. So the Earth Smite petrifies enemies. That's really good. Astral, range 100, does paralyzation. Astral, same thing, might be useful against thugs. Blood, range 25. Damage 20 base. Doesn't work versus undead or lifeless. Secondary effect is chest wound. No new magic resistance check. That's dangerous. It gives everyone a chest wound. Just like a laser beam coming from the sky and just like poking through your chest and giving you a chest wound. That's horrible. So, Banish. Banish of nature instant kills? I hope it's still banishing the undead, right? That's probably what it's talking about. Bigger area of effect, lower damage for astral, bigger of effect for air. I think it still deals damage to undead here. There's Earth Grip Secondary, that's pretty cool. No variations for blood magic. New pre-spell. Holy Word, Holy 2, range 25, fatigue cost 0, sacred only stun. So I guess you use that on sacreds and it stuns them. That's probably a counter to rushes. Thaumaturgy 6, nature 5, syllable of sleep. AoF effect 24, sleep 20, fatigue 25, range. Oh, it's the new sleep effects. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. New web spell, nature 1, range 20, AoF effect 2, strong or large can resist. Probably a new Tangle Vines. Gifts of Heaven from, wait, I was reading about Gifts from Heaven, Gift from Heavens have also been nerfed. It's now tagged with inaccurate, meaning that even if you have very high precision, you will almost never get to hit, well, not almost never, but you can still miss your target. Because I remember, Gifts from Heaven is already very inaccurate, so now it's gonna be always inaccurate. There's always a chance you'll miss. Meteor Shower, Evocation 9, Earth 5, Astral 4, 3 gems, casting time 250%. This is a variation of Gift from Heaven, and it's a battlefield-wide enchantment. Of course, it doesn't fire too fast. Slow, Alteration 4, Water 2, range 25, AoF effect 1, precision 100, magic resistance negates. Unit has -2 attack and defense, half movement and attack speed. That's gonna be very useful against rushers, even though it's at Alteration 4, but I have no clue how the new magic will look now. You know, the magic research. I don't know if they changed the ratios too much. Otherwise, let me see if I have, I believe I also got a list of new spells thanks to Mark right there. Let's take a look at it. Here is a list of new spells in Dominance 5. No, those are actually the Bless effects. So we'll look at that in the next episode when I talk about Bless effects. This is not a list of spells, this was a list of spells, so I actually do not have a list of spells with me. The only new spells I've already showed you guys, and I guess you haven't seen Time Stop. It's a new Astral spell. It's a casting time 150, Astral Pearls 1. This powerful alteration will slow down time to almost a standstill for everyone but the caster. Any ongoing effects like regeneration or heat clouds will also be slowed down, regardless if they affect the caster or not. The time stop lasts for about 5 combat rounds, but there can only be one time stop in effect at once, a new one will replace an ongoing one. So I think that's a pretty cool enchantment that Astral Mages can cast and kind of like slow time around them and just keep spamming spells. So that's gonna be great for, you know, casting thugs. We're gonna see how it turns out. That being said, I think that should be it for this episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be going throughout Blessers on the next chapter, not the next chapter, on the next episode. Give us a like. If you have any comments on what we just discussed today and you would like to have more information or you have information to share, feel free to leave us a comment down below. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel to stay updated to the latest episode. That being said, thank you for watching, everyone, and see you soon.